Prince William teamed up with football icon David Beckham on Tuesday, despite ongoing tension with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The Prince of Wales and Beckham joined forces for an important cause, marking the conclusion of the Up Against Time fundraising appeal for London's air ambulance charity, which has raised an impressive £16 million. This funding has helped secure two new H-135 helicopters that will be critical for the charity's life-saving work. During the event, Prince William met with the medical teams and engineers involved in the new helicopter's operations. He even joined the chief pilot to deliver one of the helicopters to the Royal London Hospital, where it will start its first mission. Standing alongside Beckham, William proudly unveiled one of the new helicopters during their visit to RAF Norfolk in West London. The collaboration comes at a time when the relationship between the Sussexes and the Beckhams has reportedly soured. The Beckhams, who once shared a close bond with Harry and Meghan, having been invited to the lavish wedding at Windsor Castle in 2018, have reportedly severed ties with the couple amid escalating tensions in their relationship. Meanwhile, Prince William continues to distance himself from his younger brother, with no plans to meet Harry during his current visit to the UK. Harry is in London for the World Child Awards, but Meghan has remained in the United States. The brothers' relationship has been strained for years, and it seems the royal rift is far from over. Eyebrows have also been raised over Harry and Meghan's relationship, with the Duke's recent solo travelling. In an interview with GB News on Patrick Christie's Tonight, royal journalist Sarah Louise Robertson shared her insights into the complexities of the Sussexes' relationship, unveiling her perspective on their dynamic.
Now, many critics wonder if the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will be together forever. And the cracks could be starting to show for the runaway royals. The sources reveal that they have executed a, quote, professional separation after being dropped by Spotify and seeing their joint Netflix deal fall flat on its face. It's been reported that Harry and Meghan will change tactics. So a royal source told the Daily Mail they'll still carry out some charitable engagements together and embark on foreign visits, but their work projects will now be separate. Well, I'm joined by the royal journalist, Sarah Louise Robertson. Sarah, thank you very much.
Two kings of modern Britain, one royal, one sporting, have joined forces. Prince William and David Beckham, once united by friendship and philanthropy, now stand as a new power duo, as the rift with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle deepens. But is this partnership a gesture of unity or a message of defiance? It began quietly. A shared project. A mutual passion. Prince William, focused on his earthshot legacy, and David Beckham, the global icon of diplomacy and charity. Together, they present an image of stability and integrity, something the Sussex brand has struggled to maintain since their departure from royal duties. 4 years, the friendship between the Beckhams and the Sussexes appeared unshakable. But behind the smiles, rumours grew, whispers of mistrust, of private messages leaked, of loyalties tested. When Meghan reportedly accused Victoria Beckham of sharing private stories with the press, the once glamorous bond began to fracture. Now, as William and Beckham grow closer, many see a symbolic split, a line drawn between the future king and his estranged brother. Royal experts suggest that this new alliance sends a message: the crown stands with loyalty, tradition, and restraint, qualities the Sussexes have often been accused of abandoning. Public perception is everything. In the age of social media, alliances matter more than ever. With Beckham's global influence and William's growing authority, the partnership paints a picture of confidence and purpose, while Harry and Meghan continue to navigate backlash over media deals, public appearances, and declining approval ratings. But what's truly at play here? Is it simply shared values, or subtle royal strategy? For Prince William, aligning with a national hero like Beckham could bolster his modern image. For Beckham, standing beside the future king reinforces his stature as Britain's unofficial ambassador of goodwill. Both win, while Harry and Meghan find themselves further isolated. From California to Kensington, the tension shows no signs of fading. What began as brotherly distance has evolved into a full-scale image war, one played not just through statements, but through alliances, friendships, and silent symbolism. And now, with Beckham firmly in William's corner, the message is clear: the royal battlefield has gone global. In the end, it's not just about charity, or football, or fame. It's about legacy, who shapes the story of modern royalty, and who gets left out of it.
So what do we make of this professional separation then?
I'm fascinated by this, Patrick, I have to say, and I've been predicting this for quite a while, ever since we saw these tours that they've been going on, and we've seen what's happened as well with these reports that have happened in the Hollywood Reporter, which is really seen as the Hollywood Bible. I mean, this is something that's read by industry bigwigs. And Meghan's been labelled names such as a dictator in high heels, and the Daily Beast has come out and called her sometimes that she would have attacks like a demon. I mean, this is incredible inflammatory language to use against Meghan Markle. But it just points now that all bets are off in terms of, Hollywood gunning for them. And I don't think they could have had a worse PR week than they could possibly have had this last week. So what they've done now is they've decided to have these separate interests. Harry's on this 8-day solo tour in New York, which is going to culminate over here in the UK. But as far as I'm concerned, 8 days away from Meghan Markle's grasp or clasp, whatever you want to call it, that to me is the signal. It's just a hop, skip and a jump to Splitsville, as far as I'm concerned. I think the writing's on the wall. He hasn't looked happy for a while. Despite contrary to reports, he didn't look very happy when he was on that supposed tour in Colombia. And people have said, actually, he looked a bit happier when he was in New York. He was a bit more, how is it someone put it? Human. That was it. We saw more of a human, he was humanized on this New York trip. So actually, this New York trip's been a bit more beneficial for Harry, because he hasn't had the worries. We've not heard him have a go at the press or go on about security following him. You know, that last trip to New York where they claimed that they were being hounded by paparazzi. We've heard none of this time.
The Fast and the Spurious. Yeah, the Fast and the Spurious, it turned out, because many people thought that it didn't actually exist, that kind of low-speed car chase that they said. Now, I will just say this. Look, I've obviously dished it out a fair bit to Harry and Meghan, as many people have over the course of the last few years. I really do hope that they stay together. I'm a big believer in marriage. I've recently got married myself. There's also kids involved with them, and I would hate to see, anything go on there. But they are also, as well as a couple, a brand. They tried to make themselves a brand. Now, if they realise... This is it. If they realise that they've failed as a brand and they start opting to operate professionally in a separate capacity, then I suppose that is going to have an impact on their personal relationship, isn't it?
Well, of course it is, because remember Meghan made that famous silly comment where she says, we're like salt and pepper, we move together. I mean, whatever that meant. But anyway, she came out with that, and then now we've seen that they're actually working together has done them no good whatsoever. They've had a disastrous time in Hollywood. Everything they've touched has just gone wrong. They were dropped by Spotify. They're coming to the end of their contract with Netflix. That's set to run out next year. And I've been told that at the moment there's no plans for it to be renewed. The Heart of the Invictus documentary that Harry did, that sank without trace. It failed to sort of set alight with viewers. She's brought out this thing, American Riviera Orchard, where she sent a few jars of jam to some famous friends. Again, nothing's really come of that. And so together, it's just not looking good for them. So I think now, as a way to try and salvage their own reputations, they've decided, OK, let's just try and see if we can do something solo. Meghan probably in her head thinks that, Harry's complaints against the media and against his family, I think now she sort of wants to distance herself from that and align herself with powerful people in Hollywood. Harry is I think, missing royal life in a way, even though he claimed to want to run away from it. He's missing the status that being a working royal gave him. We've seen he's talked about service, how he still wants to play a part in his humanitarian causes, and that's what he set out to do. But I think what's really fascinating this week as well, which I can't get over, she hired this massive agent, this Hollywood power broker, Ari Emanuel. How did he fail to stop this Hollywood Reporter piece from going out? I mean, that in itself, Patrick, speaks volumes, doesn't it? But Meghan herself, she seems like she's wanted to align herself with the likes of Oprah, these Hollywood types. She obviously sees that's where her power base is. That's what she's trying to build there. Because the thing with Meghan is her eyes are on a political career. It always has been the case of her that her eyes are on a political career.
It's interesting, isn't it, on that? Because I think just to say on that, because I think you made a really good point, which is that if Harry is looking to return to royal life or be in that orbit, well, he said that Meghan isn't going to come back to Britain. I think we all know that. If you also add into the mix exactly what you've just said there, which is if Meghan does have political ambitions in the US, then Harry might not want to be, overtly political. We know that he's kind of ventured into that zone before. We might not want to be overtly political. So it would make sense for them to go their separate ways, professionally speaking, to both line up those next offshoots, wouldn't it? And the only issue for Meghan is, potentially, that we've just seen a load of stuff here, as you were alluding to there, about people saying she's a dictator in high heels, she's fuming and barking orders, she's broadly belittled staff. So she will need to do a PR revolution job on herself if she's going to get anywhere, won't she?
Massive. I mean, I pity the person who has to do that for her. They've tried already this week. They've released this report in Us Weekly, which is one of their favoured magazines. The editor of that, Dan Wakeford, he used to be the editor-in-chief of People magazine, which is another one of Meghan's magazines of choice. It's interesting. He's took upon himself to get these so-called members of staff who have come out and tried to say what a wonderful boss she is. They've come out named, as opposed to the unnamed sources that were in the Hollywood Reporter and the Daily Beast article. So that's the start of the PR offensive, the move to sort of try and clear her name. But there's a long way to go yet, Patrick. I mean, those revelations are damaging, and we still have never seen the results of the royal family inquiry into the alleged bullying that took place when she was a working royal.
I wonder if we ever will. So,
no, we won't.
Thank you very, very much. Absolute delight to see you again. Take care, Sarah Louise Robertson there.
Showbiz reporter Kenzie Schofield, also speaking to GB News, shed light on the intriguing dynamic between Harry and Meghan, offering another glimpse into the inner workings of their relationship.
I think that I looked at the dates of last year when those rumors started circulating from Radar Online about Harry and Meghan taking time apart, and it was around this time last year. So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, I'm not a mom, but I don't know, maybe as a mom, Meghan likes to spend the fall with her kids. Maybe that's when they have the fun holiday parties at the school and you're getting your Halloween costumes ready. Maybe she just likes to stay at home with the kids once the holidays start kicking into high gear. But it was interesting to me that around the same time last year, these rumors started to circulate that Harry and Meghan, they were frustrated professionally and taking some time apart. And, you also have Prince Harry coming to visit you in the next few days without Meghan Markle as well for the Well Child Awards.
Yeah, and they did come together previously for those awards, didn't they? Famously, when the late Queen died, and then they popped, I think, across to the Netherlands or something for the Invictus. So they're not always apart at this time of year, but who knows, as you say, it's perfectly normal for couples to work separately. But there's also lots of briefing about their employees and how happy they are. And I've just been reading in the Daily Mail this morning that one of their employees has said that the Sussexes watered the seeds so that we can flourish.
That's the sort of crud language that she would use,
They heard we adopted a dog, and the next day I had a luxury brand leash on my doorstep. So the front page says
stop somebody else resigning. Why don't we get all the people who've resigned over the past 5 years or whatever on to talk about this?
But there's some counter briefing, isn't there, going on from Montecito?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we saw this rebuttal almost immediately. There were reports in the Express saying that this was a disgruntled former employee. But if there's a disgruntled former employee, they are disgruntled for a reason. So it's almost as if that excuse doesn't justify what we're hearing, the negative information that we're receiving about Harry and Meghan's toxic management style. I mean, I do think, it's my personal opinion, that they do have issues when it comes to communication and when it comes to management and making decisions. And if you're working underneath them, that's got to be a struggle.
How would you describe, Kenzie, the dynamic of the relationship?
I think that there is a very specific person that wears the pants in the family, and she knows where to buy luxury dog leashes. That's how I would describe that.
My director is saying that's most women, though, isn't it? That they maybe call the shots, know where the luxury leashes are. No pun intended there. Listen, we've got him, as you say, coming over to the UK. Will there be any meetings, do you think, between perhaps the King and his long-lost son?
Well, look, I'm going to be honest with you. If I told you that I had any of that information, I would be lying. And I would say that anybody that tells you otherwise is lying, because the King and Prince Harry are trying to prove to each other that they can trust each other. And so we won't have that information until well after the fact. So if I'm being honest with you, I have no clue. I think we all hope for some sort of reunion or reconciliation, because you don't want to see families, especially when your father is ill. You don't want to see them at such a distance with each other. But I do believe that they're not going to release that information because both of them are trying to prove to each other that they can trust each other.
So what would you say Harry's next moves are going to be over the next year, for instance? I mean, how does he identify himself, and how does he establish himself in people's minds?
Well, look, looking at that timeline that I was explaining about Harry and Meghan last year versus this year, they had headlines like from Rolling Stone magazine, Harry and Meghan in their flop era. What have they accomplished since then that is tangible? Not really anything. You know, they've had several Netflix flops. You know, they did have their big blockbuster, but everything else has not connected with audiences. And what I think we're seeing from Prince Harry in New York right now is him trying to rehabilitate his image. Spare, commercial success, but he became a punchline here in the States. He really became a punchline all over the country based on some of the content in his book that he dwelled on. So I think he's trying to redeem himself. He's trying to become a respected thought leader. And that's really what these visuals are in New York, and when we see Harry and Meghan on some of these tours.
Finally, Kinsey, I'm just looking at our Your Say page, and people are commenting on Prince William. We just saw him in that VT before we came to you, launching his Earthshot Prize nominees, and they're talking about the beard. They called him a scruffy ... What's your view on the beard look? I'm not a fan myself, I've got to be honest.
Oh, really? I think he looks very comfortable. I think he's very handsome with it. But I'm much more interested in the Princess of Wales Christmas concert than any of Harry and Meghan's stuff. I'd like that on the record.
I hope she plays the piano. There's just something about her long flowing locks, a ball gown, and tinkling on the ivories. It's just poetic. Fingers crossed.
It is.
Thanks, Kinsey.
I can't wait.
Cheers. See ya.
Now, while the royal family